get asked all the time, what is the difference between cutting and what is the difference between bulking? Which one do I do first? How does bulking work and how does cutting work? The truth of it is it can be a little bit overwhelming. So I'm here to provide you with a simple, easy to follow guide on cutting and bulking and things that I've done to help me cut and to help me bulk. So before we get into this video, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell on so you never miss a video with me. Okay, let's get into this video. So if you've been following me on Instagram for quite a while, you will know that when I first started doing any of those Instagram fitness videos and then to now, there is a big difference. My body has changed, my body has evolved, and that is because it's taken time, consistency, and a different mixture between bulking and cutting. The reason being is because I wanted to gain as much muscle as possible, but still maintain a lean physique. And that for me happens in two stages. You can gain muscle and be lean at the same time. I'm not saying you can't, but it does take a very long time. And it takes a lot of hard work. So that's why people choose to do one or the other, either bulking or either cutting. It's completely down to you. So the first thing we're gonna go into is bulking. I'm gonna explain it to you. I'm gonna explain what it entails and the different factors and hopefully simplify what bulking means to you. Then we're gonna go into cutting and then I'm gonna show you the procedure in which I undergo when I do cutting and bulking. Bulking is basically a surplus. So you are eating way more calories than you are burning off. But that does not mean that you are sitting at home like a little couch potato and eating a load of potatoes and not burning those calories and not making use of those calories. What you need to imagine is that you are consuming more in order to gain more muscle. So that leads me on to another thing. So what happens when you're eating all these excess calories? Are they just going to be muscle? Or what else are they? The truth is they're going to be muscle and fat as well. Please, please, please don't let anyone fool you into saying that, look, when you bulk, all you're going to gain is muscle. That's not true. You're going to gain muscle, but you are going to gain a little bit more fat. And that is completely fine. The reason being is because the whole idea behind bulking is you want to gain weight, but then use that weight and turn it into muscle and then shred that excess fat eventually. So that's basically how it will work. Another misconception can be is when you're bulking, you don't necessarily need to be training hard with intensity or even training at all. And the truth is you have to be training. You have to have a consistent training regime. The reason being is you want to turn all those excess calories into muscle. You don't want to turn it into fat. And that leads back to what I was saying. You can't just eat what you want whenever you want and do nothing with it. You have to maintain a caloric surplus on a good nutritional diet with sufficient amount of calories and then use those calories at the gym to build muscle. So remember, even though you're on a surplus, you still have to eat well. You still have to eat enough calories to be on a surplus. And you have to train with intensity to use those calories to build muscle. So who could bulking be for? Bulking is for anyone who wants to gain any muscle. You know, when girls want to talk about those booty gains. Hey girl, yes, booty gains. So if anyone who wants to gain any muscle, upper body, lower body, a bulk is perfect for you. Bulking can also be for someone who's feeling maybe a little bit weak, wants to be stronger at the gym, wants to lift heavier. It doesn't always necessarily mean that you want to gain loads of muscle and loads of weight. It could just mean that you want to eat a little bit more to gain a little bit more strength and just to have a little bit more power in the gym. One factor I do want you to keep in mind is that this is a long-term process. I don't want you to think as bulking as I'm going to eat on a surplus, train with intensity to gain as much muscle as possible in 1 month's time and then I'm going to completely cut down. I wish that is how it worked. That would be amazing if you could bulk in a month's time and then literally just lose it all the next month, which would be great. But the truth of the matter is it takes a very long time for muscle to be built. And on average, statistics have shown that women take longer to build muscle than men because of hormones and everything else. But also women tend to gain 1 to 1.5 pounds of muscle a month. I just want to put it out there. So basically, if you are going into your fitness journey and stating that you want to gain 5 pounds of muscle, Just remember what I just said. It takes 1 month to gain 1 to 1.5 pounds of muscle for a woman. So if you want to gain 5 pounds of muscle, it's going to take you roughly 4 to 5 months. Obviously, genetics play a massive factor. The foods you are eating and how you are training will play into the equation. But just bear that in mind, that it does take a while to gain muscle. So you have to consider bulking as sort of a long-term journey. When I definitely bulked, and this is from my personal perspective, is that I didn't really necessarily like what I was looking at in the mirror, because the procedure and the journey whilst you're bulking, you are gaining insulin, you are gaining fat, so you feel a bit fluffy, a bit watery, you see things you don't necessarily want to see, you feel a bit jiggly, and you know, it's a bit discouraging. You feel like you're just gaining fat, no muscle. But the truth is you are. The muscle is underneath the fat, I can reassure you. So long as you train hard, that's all I'm saying. During the journey, I didn't feel very confident in myself and comfortable in myself, because all I was seeing was, oh my God, I'm a bit fluffy. But once you shed that fat back and then you're left with necessarily the lean muscle, you're kind of thankful that you continued to bulk and you continued to bulk for a while and not just give up because you were feeling a little bit fluffy. So I just want you to bear that in mind, that you're not just going to look in the mirror and be like, wow, so many booty gains, tiny waist. When it comes to bulk, no, you will store fat where you are genetically built to store fat. Me personally, it's always in my gut. I always store fat in my gut. I wish I stored it in my legs. I wish I had a massive, big, chunky, monkey legs with massive glutes, but no, your girl stores her fat in her belly. What that also means is when you step on the scales and it shows that you have gained 10 pounds, please don't assume that is 10 pounds of muscle. If you've been bulking for 4 months, you would have gained fat in the process. So let's just say, to simplify things, you have gained 5 pounds of lean muscle in 4 to 5 months, but you have also gained 5 pounds of fat. So don't just take what the numbers on the scale tell you, okay? Please always keep that in perspective. Scales don't tell, unless you have these scientifically amazing scales, but scales don't tell you what fat and what muscle you have gained. You need those really cool scales, you know, those really cool measurement thingies. But you kind of get what I'm trying to say, right? Moving on to cutting, and cutting is the complete opposite to bulking, and cutting entails a caloric deficit. Essentially what you want to do is burn more calories than you are consuming. That enables you to burn fat, shed those excess pounds that you don't want, and just have a lean, toned, mean physique. When it comes to caloric deficit, one thing I really want to stress and put out there is I don't want you to sufficiently cut your calories and drastically cut them down. That is completely what you don't want to do. You want to start off with a sufficient amount of calories and slowly and gradually reduce your calories per week. I personally reduced my calories by 5 to 10% each week, just to allow my body to adjust, allow my body to understand what is going on. You don't want to completely shock the system and it kind of just breaks down. It's also very important to maintain an intense training regime whilst you are cutting or whilst you are bulking. You need to allow your body to actually utilize the calories that you are putting in, or even burn the calories that you don't necessarily want. So always remember that it doesn't matter what you are essentially doing, training is very, very important. So don't just give up on that. I do believe though, when it comes to cutting and being on a caloric deficit, you have to essentially be a little bit more strict, only because with a surplus, you know, you can kind of go above your calories and it won't matter too much. But with a caloric deficit, you are trying to hit that specific goal. You are trying to lean out, you are trying to lose as much fat as possible, I'm assuming. So you have to kind of be a bit more strict with what you're eating. So I personally absolutely hate counting calories. If you've been following my YouTube for a while, every time I do what I eat in a day, I never count calories. I just kind of eat what I know my body needs. But obviously for a beginner, that's not always the case. And even counting calories can really help a beginner understand how much they should be consuming and when they should be consuming it. So although I don't like counting calories, it could be an amazing tool for a beginner or someone who really wants to hit specific goals. So now that I've simplified bulking and cutting, which one essentially comes first? This is the question that we all want to know. It's kind of like, which comes first, the egg or the chicken? The chicken or the egg? Which one comes first? You let me know. But that's kind of what it is. So which one honestly comes first, bulking or cutting? And the truth is, it's completely and honestly down to you. It is down to your goals. There is no right, there is no wrong answer. So when a client comes to me and says, Chrissy, I want to gain 5 to 10 pounds of lean muscle, however, their body fat percentage is already quite high, what I would actually advise to do is cutting before. The reason being is because if you are cutting before, you are not adding excess fat. When you are bulking, remember, you are adding fat into your body, insulin. You're not just adding muscle. So sometimes what the best process can be is to cut down completely, be as lean as possible, and then bulk up. So you're adding that muscle and you're adding not excess fat, but you're adding fat that your body essentially needs to bulk, if that makes sense. Then again, everyone is different. Some people prefer to bulk first and then cut. Some people prefer to cut first and then bulk. It's completely and honestly down to you. There is no right and wrong answer. And this is also what I want to really stress, is that in a world full of Instagram and YouTube and everything like that, and in a world full of perfect bodies and perfect images, it can be so overwhelming to know what you are doing or even believe and trust what people are telling you, like what I'm telling you. And the truth is that the only way you will truly know what to do is to, one, really do your research. Don't be lazy with your research. Go and Google, go and read as many books as possible, and that's what I did at the beginning to understand what my body kind of needed. Also, find yourself a good nutritionist or even a good nutrition plan, something that will keep you on track and keep you accountable. And that leads me on to the last thing. You have to hold yourself accountable. If you are determined to reach a goal, you can make that goal happen. And I know you can make that goal happen. It's just a matter of time before you believe you can make that goal happen. So never ever think you can't achieve something, because trust me when I say you are so much more powerful than you think you are. So always keep that in mind. If you need any help with meal plans, my link is in my bio. So just feel free to pop me an email and I can see what I can do and potentially help you. I hope you found this video useful, and I know it's just me just sitting here blabbing on, but I just wanted to simplify things so I could potentially help you in the future. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel and make sure that you are following me on Instagram. Comment down below for any future videos you'd like to see. Love you always and forever. Bye!